The minute you enter out of a wing and onto a stage, you've entered as character. So who's the character entering now? I did not want to be an actor. I did not want to be a writer. I just liked listening. So I think a big part of my life was listening, seeing what was around me and gaining from my experiences. It's actually more an inward journey and was very emotional while writing because many of the incidents in the play are something I'm borrowing very much from life. You know what? I'll tell you, I never know what's going to come when I'm writing. I just knew there are 5 friends and I'm going to start writing.
All the fodder comes from real people, you know.
Yes.
From real situations. And yet you have to all the time disguise it, camouflage it.
Yes.
Before presenting. So where do you draw a moral line? Where do you draw an emotional line that you're not deceiving the relationship? नमस्कार, मैं हूं भावना सोमाया और रंगमंच के नए सीज़न में आप सबका स्वागत है। हमारी आज की मेहमान एक बहुत ही यंग, चेयरफुल, डायनामिक लड़की जिसका नाम है त्रिशला पटेल जी, और उनका जो नया प्ले आ रहा है उसका नाम है रात की रानियाँ जी। त्रिशला, when I heard the title, I assumed it would be a story of a red light area, Tawaiffs or something like that. And then I read the synopsis and it tells about 5 very close friends.
Yes.
And how the narrative follows them.
Absolutely.
So what made you title it a story of friendship as Raat Ki Raniyan?
Basically, as I was growing up, outside my window, there was a Raat Ki Rani tree. A lot of my memories are associated with the smell of Raat Ki Rani. A lot of them. And the morning I woke up with this idea, I suddenly got that smell. I don't know how. And the idea also came with it. And for me, scent is a very big instinct to go with. And I thought about this name of this group, and it was called Raat Ki Raniyan. That's how the name started and the idea started. So that's how it started. About 5 close friends who form a friendship, and their group is called Raat Ki Raniyan.
Okay. They have a WhatsApp group which is called Raat Ki Raniyan?
No, in this time, it starts in 1993.
Okay.
And they just land up very drunk near a tree of Raat Ki Rani, and they all smell it, and they decide to name themselves because of the beautiful night they've had. And it was a terrible day, and the night was so beautiful. And the smell just gets them together. And that's how the name starts. And they call their group, as the years go by, Raat Ki Raniyan.
It's wonderful. I've heard of people getting an inspiration, an idea, getting up in the night, writing the idea out. But it's wonderful to know that you are beckoned by a fragrance.
Yes.
And that fragrance becomes a part of your fictional characters.
Yes.
And something happens, and then how you move towards finding a situation to use this particular title.
Yes.
You know?
I didn't even know it would happen.
But journey.
Yes,
yeah.
It is. It's actually more an inward journey, and was very emotional while writing because many of the incidents in the play are something I'm borrowing very much from life. About people I know, the friends I know. These 5 friends encapsulate almost all the friends I know. So that's how the journey is. So one person is not about one girlfriend I know, but about male and female friends I know within one person. So that's how I've got this play together.
So do you have a group of friends like that with whom you have crossed decades and
Yes, I do. Many groups. Actually, it's not one group. So one of them is called Famous 5, finally. One is, there are all sorts of groups actually.
My friends with whom I traveled through college to now, we call ourselves 5 Fatakis. And our other friends make a lot of fun of us and say कि आप में से एक भी फटाके नहीं है.
What nonsense.
तो हमने कहा कि हमारे लिए तो हम फटाके हैं.
Exactly.
तो ये चलता रहता है. Friendship is something that doesn't die. Love fades.
Yes.
Parents die.
Yes.
Relatives come and go.
Yes.
But friendships go on forever.
Absolutely.
They sometimes move to different plateaus.
Yes.
How did you choose the characters? You said you combined a couple of people whom you know into maybe one character.
Yes.
And how did you define their journeys?
You know what? I'll tell you, I never know what's going to come when I'm writing. I just knew there are 5 friends and I'm going to start writing. But the entire idea started with loss. It was the loss of a friend which made me actually start writing the process of writing the play. So in the last 3 years, we're at an age where we lose people, and I've lost friends. And it was so emotional. I was like, what happens to the group of friends who are left behind? But then I said, we are celebrating life. We're not celebrating death. So we're celebrating the life. So I went into the fact that there's loss, but there's also the journey of the friends, the way they started. So the entire play is about when the first time they met, actually. And it starts from there. It starts in 1993 and goes all the way to 2023.
And so COVID and everything is
everything.
there.
But it's not COVID which is important, or the things like tsunami or riots. It's the friendship which is important. All that is in the background for sure, because that's how you traverse life. But what actually happens within relationships, even though all this is going on in the background, so that's what I've really explored in this.
Have you told your friends that you have borrowed from their lives and you've done this play?
They will never know, actually, because it's so it's layered. They all know when they hear a certain line that it's them, but they'll never know it's them completely. So I find that interesting in the writing process.
So being a writer is actually very tricky.
Very tricky.
Because all the fodder comes from real people,
Yes.
from real situations, and yet you have to all the time disguise it, camouflage it
Yes.
before presenting. So where do you draw a moral line? Where do you draw an emotional line that you're not deceiving the relationship?
I would never actually cheat on my friends' emotions by actually putting down their episodes. But everyone knows that a part of them is already a part of me. And I don't usually write the exact episodes. And I draw a definite line between reality and fiction. Definite. Because who wants to hurt a friendship? You never want to do that. Also, a lot of my plays they're complete fiction. It is fiction what I'm writing. But for example, there is an episode in this play about a friend who's going through drug addiction. I knew such a friend. I knew not one. I knew 5 friends at least who went through this. They go through rehab. I've just put them all together and put it as an episode.
Nice.
Right? And how the other friends get this friend out of it, which is very important. How friendship really helps when you're addicted and you're going through a bad phase in life. So this is one episode and one journey which one of the friends goes through.
So I'm very curious to know about how does it unfold? Does it happen like in first person where all of them are talking, or what is your grammar of the play?
The grammar is that each character is speaking for themselves. We see each person's journey very clearly, and so each scene has an individual's journey coming out. So, but we don't even realize how gently it's coming out, but it's definitely coming out. And we also see a bit of their background, their families, but we don't show anybody. We just talk about them.
So does it start in 24?
It starts in 1993.
And that time they are all together?
In college, first day of college.
So the scenes are most of the time involving all the 5 friends?
Absolutely.
And then at that time, who is going through what gets the focus?
Absolutely.
When I read the synopsis, I said, should I book tickets for all my friends and we should go together?
Yes.
I'm sure that's the kind of feeling it's going to arouse in most of them.
In most people.
Then how should you market the play? Should you be saying that, come with your friends?
It's actually,
and what is
come
the
with
language?
your family.
It's Hindi, no?
It's English. It's in English.
Okay.
With Hindi, of course, in it, because Hindi is part of our Bombaya language. So there's Hindi, there's a character who's Bavi, there's a character who's Bengali. I grew up with a lot of Parsis in my life. There's a character who is very hip, very posh, and they all become friends. It's college. Everybody's friends.
Why do you call it Raat Ki Raniya and have the medium in English? Because it's so confusing. If I'm somebody who does not understand English,
yes,
I will come for the play and I'm going to be disappointed.
Yes.
Are you preparing your audience?
Yes, I am, actually. Also because there is an element of something else as to why it's called Raat Ki Raniya, which I was not planning to reveal at all.
Okay.
Therefore, it's also the scent, the tree. It's called Raat Ki Rani. It definitely comes from that. And also there's a character in the play who I have not revealed to the audience as to why it is called Raat Ki Raniya. So her character is very different from all the others. Her journey is different. Sorry.
After a long time, I get an essence of a female gaze.
Yes.
Who is going to give me a different kind of a narrative. And 2, I'm getting the fragrance of what I'm going to watch before I'm going to watch it.
Yes.
I'm curious to know that who have been the influences in your life, who have the people who have mentored you to make you the person you are, or to make you the writer you are, or to make you do the kind of plays you do.
I would say first my parents, because my parents made me do everything which children are not allowed to do nowadays. So I grew up seeing, in the days we grew up, smoking was not taboo, drinking was not taboo, to watch adult films was not taboo. And the fact that I watched Catch-22 and The Graduate when I was 7 and 8 years old, my parents were like, you should watch everything. They didn't think that anything was wrong. They said it's a story. A story is a story. Baddu jovanu. So, but the thing is, the impressions it leaves later is what got me interested in things like Absurd Theatre. I didn't even know the name Absurd Theatre. I also realized that what I did, there's one thing which is interesting, I don't know if many people know. I lived very close to Prithvi Theatre, and I had a little cycle. And there were many times when I was 8 or 9 years old, I would cycle there, put my cycle in the back and go hide in the backstage. And I've listened to many plays like this.
Hide in the backstage?
Yeah, and nobody would stop me. The best part was nobody knew I was there. It was just a wonderful feeling. So all the people like Tiwari ji used to be there, right? So all the older people used to see me and were used to me going in, putting my cycle and going inside. Nobody used to stop me. So it was a wonderful feeling, and I love the AC. I love the coziness.
And the darkness.
The darkness. And I didn't know I want to be an actor. I didn't know I want to be a writer. I just liked listening. So I think a big part of my life was listening, seeing what was around me and gaining from my experiences.
It's wonderful what you're saying, because there is so much cacophony around us. There is so much of activity around us that we have stopped, one, observing,
Yes.
two, listening. And unless you listen, there is no growth.
No.
Okay, so these were your immediate family and
Yes.
your immediate surrounding that influenced you.
The others. I'll tell you about the others as well. So one was, as I was growing up, I used to keep writing things even in school, as I went to college, but I was like, useless. Who's going to read all this? It's for me. One piece I wrote was a horror piece, which was in school. And my grandmother said, you need psychiatry. It's very real. આ બધું શું છે? Horror story જેવું છે. There's blood in the bathtub ને આ બધું. I said, but I saw Shining. Mummy said, it's fine. So I am writing this, and I won a prize for that in school. So I didn't think there was anything wrong in writing whatever you feel, whatever you do. And I found it very interesting that my grandmother was so affected. Because she was affected, I wrote more. I kept writing. Then, of course, I crossed paths with Dubeji, Nasir sir.
Dubeji, I mean, you are taking names, they are legends.
They're legends, yes.
And to have met them and interacted with them and the kind of impact they have on your personality.
Yes.
Because I remember being all the time in Prithvi Theatre as a journalist, and Satyadev Dubey was always hanging out there.
Yes.
And you can just go and talk to him, and he was ready to give a speech and gyan, provided you really sat through and listened.
Yes. Yeah, he was most interesting.
Nasir sir?
Nasir sir as well. But the one who really egged me on to write was Dubeji. It didn't matter where I was in the world. Ek piece likh ke bhejo. Okay, so he would give me a topic, I had to write it, and he'd discuss why the dialogue is very bad and why you've not got to the root of what you're doing. And it was only because he said, do it as practice. We're not putting it up. Who's going to read it? Me and you. And this kept happening.
But why was he interested in you? You were just a
I was an
kid.
actor. I was an actor doing workshops with him.
Okay.
And he said, your English is good? Right.
Okay.
And he used to make me assist also. He used to make me come for workshops and help him also. I just happened to have a lot of time. And I loved doing what he was doing. So I used to get shouted at every day.
That's nice.
I used to sit at Holiday Inn every day almost with him, or at his house and write, or whatever he had wanted to dictate to me, I used to write down. So I used to be with Dubeji all day. He was my permanent boyfriend, actually. So he was wonderful. He was there during my marriage. My husband actually helped me a lot with this present script and said that this experience sounds true or doesn't sound true, because he's lived through many of them with me. Dubeji also helped me really become the person I am. He says, just be true to yourself, do not be fake, and that will translate on stage, which is very true. Nasir sir said that don't bang into the furniture, learn your lines. But what he taught me was discipline. He's really taught me discipline. Land up on time, do your lines, and try differently every day. Again, that translates even into writing and direction. Makran sir, he taught me the minute you enter out of a wing and onto stage, you've entered as character. So who's the character entering now? So he'd make this whole hawa about who you are the minute you get onto stage. For me, those were magical things. They're magical directions. They're so small. Like Nasir sir would say, what's in the pause? You don't have a line. What's in the pause? What's the meaning of the pause? So I would find these directions very interesting. And Sunil sir would say something really simple like move from here to here. But when you move from here to here, what happens? What is the journey from here to here on stage? 3 steps mean a lot. So they all say such varied things and they've all become part of me. So yeah, that's who I am.
Also Feroz Khan, no?
Feroz Khan, actually, more than him directing me, I worked with him, of course, and he was so kind to take me on. I knew nothing. He helped me learn everything but production. But Feroz sir was actually more worried about the main actors on stage. So it was not me he was worried about. He taught me production. But who taught me to put up a backstage table was Nasir sir. Who taught me who mentored me every time I was with Dubeji or Nasir sir or anybody was K.K. Menon. He'd say, you're doing it like this, or what is the sur of a scene? So he'd see the macro picture. I've had such good teachers, I can't tell you. Fabulous teachers all around. And I have no idea why they were interested in me, frankly. I think I was just interested in listening to all of them.
What was that girl, Trishala Patel, going through in that formative years? Was she going home and keeping a scrapbook, a diary, writing down all these things, or they were just stored in her subconscious?
I think I used to go home every day and think about what they said, but I'll tell you something, I wouldn't get the time. Because if I was not with one person, I was with the other. Either we were making music, or you're telling me, learn this song, you don't know Hindi. They're the ones who taught me Hindi. So Dubeji would take out time, Makran sir would take out time. Who has the time nowadays?
And correct all the Hindi.
And correct the Hindi.
Pronunciations.
Yeah, and push you to do it. My God, they give you such confidence.
So you're born in a Gujarati family?
Yes.
You studied in convent?
No, I studied in Manikji Cooper, Parsi school.
Okay.
Where my Gujarati went really bad because they only made you speak in
Parsi.
No, in English. So they would punish you if you spoke in any other language. I found that so backward. But I loved my school because the principal was amazing. So she's no more, Mrs. Katki. But it was amazing what it did for my language as English. But even Hindi came to me really quickly because of the way Dubeji and Max sir and Nasir sir and all. Nasir sir was the one who taught me Urdu and Purva Naresh. So yeah, everyone was interested in teaching me for some reason.
Which was the first play you wrote?
Which I wrote, Kumbh Katha.
How did that play, how was it born?
It was born because I went for the Kumbh Mela, the Mahakumbh. And I went with a bunch of friends. One of my friends has given up everything and he is over there. He's
become a hermit.
He's a hermit, but he's one of the most modern hermits. He has a laptop and he has all that. But he is very arrived and he helped me put it together. But I wrote it down. I have no idea how it came to me, but I went there and it just came. I wrote it down.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It was my first play and it's about the 5th drop of Amrit. So there are 4 drops, but I imagined a fictional 5th drop dropped on a woman and she gave birth to 2 children and it's about the fight between Devs and Asurs to find them.
And what are the 4 drops about?
The 4 drops of which fall in Nasik, Haridwar, Allahabad. It's all about you get the nectar of life. You live forever. And then at the end you realize who wants to live forever? Shraap hai, ye kya hai? So it's about that. So it's the joy of finding whether you really want to live forever.
That's a rather complex play to write, na, for a debut.
Yeah, it is. It is. But there was also a mix of Bollywood in it, where one of the sons is left in the steps of the cinema hall and one is left in an ashram, and how the 2 brothers meet.
Okay, sounds like a Manmohan Desai film.
It is. It has got that element as well. So I'm so, of course, as you're growing up, you can't run away from the way Bollywood is. But I didn't grow up with too many Hindi movies. I grew up more with Hollywood, the way my upbringing was. So,
or first play you direct here?
It was this.
Okay.
On my own, actually, no. On my own, which I directed for Rage, for Writer's Block, was Dreamcatcher. And I did that with Foize Jalali because I said, listen, I've not directed anything on my own. And Rahul and Shehnaz and Rajat, they're amazing. You know, they just push you and push you. You can do it, Trish, you can do it. I was like, I don't know anything. But they were just, and they pushed me, and Dreamcatcher was a beautiful play.
And what was the dream about?
The Dreamcatcher is about a riot going on in a hotel room, and these 2 sisters are stuck there. And it's their relationship of the 2 sisters.
Unresolved conflicts?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
About when they were young and when they were dancers. So they're two young children. My niece was acting in it as well. And it's very beautiful.
So you are an actor, you are a writer,
Yes.
you are a director,
Yes.
and you are also a producer.
Yes.
Isn't that too many hats to wear?
I would say yes.
Which is the most difficult?
I'd say production, because you manage people. And people are sensitive human beings, and you really just learning how to be with people. It takes up more energy than acting and directing and writing.
And writer, is it lonely, or you don't mind being lonely and putting things on
I don't think
computer?
I write so much. When I write, I love it. I'm completely in it. I'm crying and weeping and like, whoa, and I'm laughing away. I enjoy writing. I have no such process.
So much histrionics while writing that you don't need it on the stage.
No, it's just something because I imagine each character. I'm saying out the lines aloud on my own. So yeah, I can write anywhere. I don't need a quiet place.
What is the difference you feel when you're on stage and not writing?
I feel at home. It doesn't matter what role I'm doing, I feel very much at home because you're no longer yourself and you're playing somebody else. I feel almost like it's a safe zone sometimes. You're being somebody else. That's why actors become actors. I think if you were not messed up somewhere in life, you couldn't act. The experiences make you an actor.
I find it very strange that the same person can be an actor and don so many hats, because acting is also about vanity.
Also, yes.
Okay, it's also about being self-absorbed.
Yes.
You have to love yourself beyond obsession. You're so bothered about your every nuance, every curl in the hair. And a writer couldn't give a damn whether she's had a bath or not.
Yeah.
Because she's so busy finishing what she has to finish. So it's kind of schizophrenic that you balance all of it.
Yeah, but I don't see it as that difficult anymore. Maybe life has just taught me to be easy with myself. So I'm very easy even as an actor. I'm okay if something is not perfect. In fact, I see more perfection in imperfection. I feel the flaws are why I do what I do. So if my play was perfect, I'd be very worried. I mean, if really my acting job was, everyone says it's really good, I get worried. I'm like, no, there's something wrong if it's very good. I think the imperfection is what drives me to do more.
Have you fantasized making a film?
Yes, I have. In fact, I have even assisted my brother-in-law in making many ads. I was DA on his film, which was one of the contenders for the Oscars.
Okay.
It was a Gujarati film called The Good Road.
Okay.
And of course, we didn't have money to push it through or lobby it through. But I've done a lot of assisting and I'm very excited. I've made short films on my own, not for public viewing, of course. I'd send it to Cannes, Short Film Corner and stuff. But yeah, I do enjoy writing and making a film. I think that's the next thing I'm going to do.
So as we wind up, I come back to Raat Ki Raniyan.
Yes.
Was there any time you felt that you were getting stuck, or this may not work as a plot, or how are people going to react to it? What if the audience doesn't come to this theatre? Do these thoughts bother you?
No.
You're always confident that everybody will come?
No, I'm not confident. No. I don't think like that when I make a play. I just make a play. I feel every play has a destiny. And the destiny of this play is 2 shows, well, it's 2 shows. If it's 5 shows or it's 2 years, okay, good for that. Because I know the minute the play is done, I'm going to start moving on to the next again. Because even though I've absorbed it, I get so excited with so many experiences in life. I'm always on to the next. So I don't think so hard and I don't take that load too much. I'm like, chalo, paisa nahi banave, chale, next one. So I just go on with that attitude.
So many people have mentored you. So many people have given you so much,
yes,
because of which you are an enriched personality. What would you like to say in the final message to those who are struggling to write their first play or direct their first play? How to do it? When to do it? Is there a particular age when you can do it? And is it worth it? Is it giving any money at all? Or is it just giving creative satisfaction? बोलते हैं ना थैले वाले के पास पैसा तो होता नहीं है.
So my philosophy in life is what will happen. If you're meant to write, you will write. If you're meant to direct, there's nothing which will stop you. You can be a person in the cafeteria as a waiter and you'll still be out there directing films. So I don't believe there's a right time. You can start at 50 also. Amrish ji, what an example, Amrish Puri ji. Started at such an older age and he's, my God, what an actor. So it's already there within us, what you're meant to do. So I would not give that kind of advice. I'd just say that I hope each person who starts out their journey is blessed to find such mentors, because you do need a mentor. You can't just start out there and think that you're great because it's out there. Nobody's great just like that. You need a good mentor behind you always. It's important.
Thank you, Trishla.
Thank you, Bhavna ji.
I wish you all the best. And रंगमंच के प्रोग्राम में अगले हफ्ते हम आपके लिए और भी इंटरेस्टिंग लोग लाएंगे.
Thank you.